What is up, everybody, and welcome back to Macho Movie Madness.
Oh, yeah.
I am Brandon, and alongside me always is Andrew, and today on a special episode of Warehouse B, number 19, in fact, it's Red Scorpion, 1988, Dolph Lundgren. So this movie right here, Andrews, I just watched it for the very, very first time, and I gotta say, I didn't hate it.
Yeah. I think it's a pretty solid movie. In my top 10 for Dolph Lundgren, it's in the back half.
Yeah.
I'm not sure where exactly it would be, but I have a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, I went into it not really knowing what to expect. He obviously plays this Spetsnaz soldier really, really well.
Yeah.
Coming off of Rocky and all that.
Yeah.
It kind of just works out.
They've got kind of the same haircut going on for him and everything.
Yeah, the same look and everything.
Basically, the plot, they're in communist occupied Africa. These it's basically the Russians and the Czechs and Cubans, I believe, and there's this uprising going on out in the bush, and they basically bring in their best Spetsnaz soldier, Nikolai, played by Dolph Lundgren, to go in and befriend this guy who's the revolutionaries' warlord, and go in and gain his trust so he can assassinate him. Yeah. But of course, this movie is kind of reminds me of like Dances with Wolves or Avatar or something, where the guy gets in and he suddenly sees the error of his ways. To me, how I feel about Avatar, this is a better story than Avatar, and he's not blue.
Well, yeah. So it's like that's actually a really good point. I was trying to think of what this movie is like because I kept going back to Rambo.
Yeah.
And it's very It's like a Rambo copy in a way, but like you said, that's a really good comparison too. Dances with Wolves, Avatar. That's a really good comparison too. He goes in there and he kind of sees. Of course, acting wise, maybe what happens, I don't see. It probably wasn't as well done as the other two, but it's also an hour and 40 minutes or whatever.
Yeah.
And not 3 hours.
With a $16 million budget.
Exactly. So what can you do? It's an action movie. You can't really complain too much about how they address it. Just know that he starts to see the light a little bit here, that he's this communist who sees why they're rebelling. I guess let's just go into positives before we go into cons. The action is really, really good in this movie. There's one particular scene that I like a lot. The ending's good, but like it's about, I'd say middle of the road, when they escape that camp.
Yes. And
it's that big chase scene. That's a really, really good scene.
There's some really good action in there. They're lobbing grenades and sidecars are flying everywhere. There's a stunt that Dolph Lundgren actually did where he's on this motorcycle and jumps from the motorcycle to the truck and actually did that stunt on his own. And that's wild.
Yeah. Well, and it's wild considering the like stature of this man. Like he's so big. And obviously he's young and in really good shape here. But I kept laughing because he just towers over everybody. And it's not like that's not a thing in every movie he's in, but he just towers over everybody in this movie.
You've got Emmett Walsh calling him a commie, whatever, and he's like 2 feet shorter than him.
He's like 2 feet whole shorter.
Your clock.
Yeah, 3 feet wider. And I mean, you got Dolph. There's scenes where Dolph is literally grabbing dudes like one-handed by the jaw and just like lifting them straight up and just manhandling them. It's hilarious. But that scene in the bar was funny.
Yeah,
he's coming in all drunk. And
what really makes that first action scene work that you were talking about is Little Richard, Long Tall Sally. And it's not playing in the background; it's in the foreground. While all this chaos is going on. I thought that was a great touch, especially, coming the year after Predator.
Yes. Yeah. Dude, Long Tall Sally is such a good song for one thing. And for whatever reason, it works in action movies. Yeah. But that's another point. Little Richard is all over this movie. There's there's 4 songs in this movie and it's all Little Richard.
Yeah. Like they got some kind of discount from the Little Richard, fund or something.
Yeah, everyone's like, Little Richard's like, hey man, I'm gonna need some movies, and
The end action scene on that compound where all the rebels go and blow up, and he's got that FAL with like the
Yes.
top mounted drum. I love
The
that scene.
double, it's like a double barrel FAL. It's all, it looks super plastic, but it looks really cool at the same time. You're
Yeah,
just like, what the hell is going on here? It's a really cool gun, and I just love the setup for it too, because he's coming through and he's cleaning house. He's got like an AK or something in his hand, which is like, which preceding this scene with this new FAL prototype. uh he's like, go kick that guy's that little fat guy's like, go kick some ass. And then and the very next scene is just a cut, like very next scene, he's busting through a door and he blind fires around the door and kills somebody, like off screen, like the guy's off screen. I laughed my ass
yeah.
off. I just,
He's Spetsnaz. Come on, man.
yeah, yeah. How did he even know he's there? He just knew. He just knew he was there.
Yeah,
But he goes down the hallway and he goes into the room and he sees the FAO's mounted up. Like I'm like, oh my god, this is like a video game.
right.
It's just set up like a video game. Like the protagonist just found a room, an armory, and here it is, just mounted. And of course, the camera zooms in on the gun, like
Yeah,
yeah, it's pretty fun. And there's no way, shape, or form, like I don't even think meant to be that way, but it just was
yeah,
that way. It was funny.
yeah. But I thought that the action was really good in this movie, from start to finish. I felt like there in the middle there could have been just a little bit more.
Yeah,
Um,
I agree.
I did like the Hind gunship, the airplane from Rambo, the helicopter that comes in.
Yes, yes.
That's really cool looking 80s helicopter.
Yes, it is. Yeah, that shit like just looks, especially in camera, like it just looks like that means business, man. And
Yeah.
just F you up. Love it. So let's get into some cons for this real quick. What are some of your cons? Do you have any cons?
Um,
I
the
mean,
movie
other
does
than it
feel
being,
the
go
movie
ahead,
does
sorry.
feel just a little bit long. You know, um, I'd say it probably could have used about 5 minutes trimmed out. I'm not sure exactly where. Maybe some of that trek across the desert when they're going to like Porto Silva or something. But yeah, I'd say that's about it. Acting wise, it's okay for years. It's a Dolph Lundgren movie, so I'm not expecting
I
much.
mean, like I said, it's $16 million. It's not a big thing. Maybe it was supposed to be at the time. I don't know, but it just really wasn't. I agree with you. I think, um, I mean, it's 105 minutes. So you probably could have got it down to 90, 95 minutes.
Yeah,
I think. The only problem with that too is there are some, like we talked about just a little bit ago with the Dances of Wolves things and the story. Does the story really allow any more to be trimmed?
yeah, that's the issue.
Because I mean, you're supposed to be showing this guy who's this badass, who's this cold Spetsnaz soldier, and just out to do a mission, and he's got to kind of find a heart and change his ways. And how do you do that and portray this in a way in a certain amount of time?
Yeah,
And you're not going to do it, and you're not going to do it well.
yeah. So
So
I don't know what you would have cut there.
I don't either. I don't either. Just, but like you said, the desert scene when they were walking after that long chase scene was so awesome. Was a real like momentum killer, right? It kind of just the
Yeah,
tempo changed too much.
yeah. He has to gain
And
their trust, but I see
yeah,
the
and I
reason
get
for
it. I do too. I see the reason. It's not like it's a bad reason. It really just kind of kills it for some reason the way they done it. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's other things that have been done better, and this one just missed the mark for me, I guess. The beginning was also a little bit slow,
Yeah.
so I guess pacing is the probably my biggest con.
Speaking of the beginning, Brian James, who is in Blade Runner, I think he's in 48 Hours, a lot of things. His Czech accent, he's the guy in the prison.
Yes, yes.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah, very bad. they're the acting in this I thought was just most of the time. It was definitely set up like a very cheap late 80s. Actually, it didn't even feel like a late 80s movie. It felt like an early 80s movie.
Yeah. There's some acting in this that I normally wouldn't like. Emmett Walsh, he's ugly American in this thing, and usually that's a turnoff. But I kind of like how he's constantly at odds with Dolph in this thing. And then the other part of this movie that I really liked, I thought was real charming, was Gulp, the Bushman. That whole like
Yes.
15 to 20 minute segment where he's left for dead, and that was actually a 90-plus-year-old bushman that they hired for this movie.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like how he got the name Red Scorpion from that whole part, and I like the little interaction they have. Gulp's constantly laughing at him because he's trying to learn how to live off the land, and
Yeah. Yes.
I like that
Yeah.
little
It'd
sequence.
be good.
I
Yeah,
can
we
see
have
where
that.
that would be a momentum killer too, but I enjoyed it.
Well, I think it's just the way everything transitions from one feel, like, you know what I mean, like one scene to the next, the feeling, because they destroy this village, and now and they have to escape. Now he's out with this dude becoming a hunter and learning, changing his ways. And he tosses it's really dramatic, but also kind of cheesy, where he tosses his dog tags or whatever they were. And it was just really like cheesy. So I don't know. That's really my own pacing, and a little bit of the acting is kind of my only bugaboo about this. But I have seen worse. I
Yeah,
have seen way worse. This isn't as fun as, like, this isn't like so bad it's good, like a Samurai Cop or Trancers or something like that. Not that Trancers is bad, but you know what I mean. It's
yeah,
not as fun. But it's a pretty solid little movie that probably most people have either forgotten or never watched.
yeah,
So I'll have to at least give it credit for being watchable. And I recommend going out and watching this. If you want to see old B movie, action movies, something like that, if you haven't, maybe you missed a bunch of them. I said it, I think I may have said it in one of our videos here recently. I think Dolph Lundgren is extremely underrated.
yes,
I know he's not always going to be your high performance guy. Like, this is not his best work, but I still think he's a good actor. He wasn't allowed, probably, or maybe he didn't have it yet, but he
yeah.
wasn't allowed to show his chops in this. When you see something like I Come in Peace, that's a whole different ball game for him, I think,
When you
acting
get
wise.
a year past this to the Punisher and to I Come in Peace and Showdown Little Tokyo, a couple years on, you can tell he's gaining confidence in his acting ability.
Absolutely, he starts to get a little bit better. He's never amazing, but he's got this presence about him that if he would have just gotten better movies, I think we'd be having different discussions about this dude today.
And I think a lot of that has to do with, none of his movies really did well.
No,
This originally started out as like an $8 million budget, and while they were trying to get to the next location, they were stuck in South Africa for like 3 months, the entire cast and crew, and it doubled the budget of the movie. And
crazy.
I think out of the $16 million they spent on this movie, it only made four back at the
It
box
did.
office.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just things like that just kind of derailed Dolph's career to where he was, straight to video. And it's a shame because, like you said, movies like I Come in Peace, and I just recently shot one for my channel, Army of One, that everybody needs to see.
I can't wait to watch that.
Yeah, really good movie. Things like that, people should they should have been a bigger deal so people would have known about them, because some great action and some okay acting.
Yeah. Yeah. The thing is, we don't really watch these movies for the acting anyway, but we always have to address it because sometimes they surprise you. Sometimes, I mean, it's not that bad. But yeah, this one here, you could tell they weren't worried about that as much. Not even necessarily. But I mean, obviously, you find a lot of no namers, you're not going to get good acting anyway. But even even the guys you have seen before, they're just like phoning it in. It seems like it. What would you rate this?
I'm giving this a 3 out of 5.
3 out of 5.
Yeah, part of me wants to go 3.5 because sounds like I enjoy it quite a little bit more than you, but I can recognize the faults in it as well. So,
Yeah, right.
3.
I think 3 out of 5 is solid. I would agree with that for sure. I'm not going to be overly harsh with it because while I didn't enjoy the pacing as much, the action was incredible. Like,
Yeah.
it was fun. It was
Yeah.
really fun. And like I said, he is such a presence that it's just so entertaining to see this big giant dude just, I mean, tower over everybody.
Gigantic gun blowing up a helicopter at the end of the
Yeah, exactly. So I think that'll about cover. You got anything else to say about Red Scorpion?
No, not about Red Scorpion. I think it's a great movie. I think everybody should check it out. It's normally on Tubi, so yeah,
Check
it's
it
a
out on
fun
Tubi.
time. What do we got coming up down the road?
Well, we've got a nice little RoboCop review that we're going to be doing here real soon, and that's going to be coming up. We love RoboCop. And episode 20 of Warehouse B, we've been talking about it. Samurai Cop. And I cannot wait for this because it's like the ultimate bad good movie.
Yes.
It's so bad it's good.
This is one we may actually have to watch together so we can laugh at.
I think so. I think for sure. For sure. We'll definitely do that. We'll sit down and get some pizza again or something and watch it. Okay. Well, I think that about covered. Be on the lookout for RoboCop. Be on the lookout for Samurai Cop coming up. Can't wait for that. That's going to be a fun one. And until then, we're out of here.